Under the dazzling glow of 1,000 crystal chandeliers, Emily stood transfixed, her heart pounding in her chest as the gala transformed her world in an instant. The air was electric with anticipation as Liam, a figure of commanding presence at the podium, called her name, revealing an unexpected scholarship fund born from her simple act of kindness. Applause surged, a tidal wave of admiration that seemed to seize the very breath from her lungs. As she grappled with the magnitude of the moment, a singular thought echoed in her mind, preparing her for an even greater revelation. But what happened next would shock even those who thought they'd seen everything. But first, let's go back to the beginning. The night air was thick with the hum of distant traffic and the occasional gleam of passing headlights as Emily stepped out from the warmth of the diner where she spent countless hours each week. The smell of coffee and fried food clung to her apron as she clutched her modest tips in one hand, tired but grateful for another opportunity to earn her keep. Her feet ached from the day's labor, each step a reminder of her determination to make ends meet. The city lights flickered above like sentinels overseeing the stories played out beneath them, casting an ethereal glow on the bustling streets. As she reached the curb, anticipating the familiar routine of flagging down a cab, her gaze landed on a puzzling scene that stood out amidst the ordinary urban dance. A man in an impeccably tailored suit, incongruously juxtaposed against the gritty backdrop of the street, stood in quiet frustration, locked in a hushed conversation with a taxi driver whose expression was a mix of impatience and bewilderment. Even from a distance, Emily could discern the fine cut of his clothes and the sheen of his leather shoes, evident markers of wealth and privilege. Out of instinct, Emily slowed her pace, an innate curiosity compelling her to decipher the tableau unfolding before her. Her heart, softened by empathy born from her own experiences with hardship, compelled her forward. She could easily have walked away, absorbing herself in her own struggles. Yet something in the man's demeanor, a mix of humility and helplessness, stirred her to act. "Is everything all right?" she found herself asking, her voice carrying a blend of concern and cautious kindness. The man looked up, revealing eyes that held a surprising depth masked by his poised exterior. He hesitated only a fraction before explaining his predicament: a forgotten wallet, an inability to settle his fare under the driver's unyielding stare. A flicker of recognition, and her own past struggles sparked within Emily as she found parallels between her situation and his current plight. Without overthinking, she offered to cover the fare, her voice steady despite the fleeting doubt that pricked at the corners of her mind. Here stood a man who appeared unaccustomed to wanting for anything, yet at this moment, their roles intertwined in a brief but poignant reversal of fortune. "No, please, there's no need," the man replied, surprised at the gesture. But Emily insisted, dismissing it as a simple act of human decency, a bridge between disparate worlds. Her decision made, she exchanged the few remaining bills in her pocket for a grateful nod from the taxi driver before watching him drive away into the night. Standing alone with the man, whose gratitude was palpable despite his astonishment, Emily felt an inexplicable sense of kinship, a binding thread of shared humanity. It was an interaction that transcended the boundaries of wealth and class, a potent reminder that sometimes, in the labyrinth of life's complexities, a single act of kindness could illuminate the path ahead, forging connections that neither anticipated nor understood. Bathed in the dim glow of the flickering streetlights, Liam stood momentarily speechless, grappling with the unexpected benevolence he had just experienced. Accustomed to a world where every gesture and transaction was meticulously calculated, Emily's uncomplicated act of kindness caught him completely off guard. Her altruism sat in stark contrast to the many calculated interactions typical of his high-powered existence. Though his surroundings were alien to him, dominated by the urban noises and shadows he rarely engaged with, Liam felt a rare fissure open within his otherwise controlled demeanor. He regarded Emily with a curious blend of gratitude and intrigue, her humility a beacon in the swirl of life's complexities. He wanted to express his appreciation more concretely, reaching for his absent wallet out of a habitual reflex before realizing its futility. "Thank you," he began, his voice layered with sincerity that belied his usual boardroom precision. "Please, allow me to repay you. I insist." Emily shook her head with a gentle insistence that outmatched his own. "It's nothing, really. Everyone gets caught short sometimes." Her smile, warm and unguarded, radiated the sort of quiet resilience that comes from weathering life's everyday storms. To her, this was not charity, but rather a simple decision to lighten a fellow traveler's burden. "Well, at least let me have your number," Liam persisted, an idea sparking in his mind that he could not yet fully articulate. "I'm in town for some personal business, and maybe there'll be a chance to return the favor someday." Emily hesitated, not out of distrust, but from an innate recoil at the notion of indebting herself to anyone, especially a stranger. Still, she saw nothing deceitful in Liam's face, which bore only an earnest curiosity. Her reluctance melted into concession, more to avoid appearing ungracious than from any true expectation of future contact. She recited her number, her voice tinged with a touch of awkwardness born of modesty. "Liam," he introduced himself, reaching out to shake her hand as a gesture of sincere appreciation, even as she casually filed his name away in her mind. "Emily," she replied, her eyes meeting his as if offering reassurances that this encounter was free from any strings or pretenses. As they parted ways, the street took back its usual rhythm, swallowing the brief human connection in its timeless current. Emily turned back to her own thoughts, her heart cloaked in the contented air of someone used to navigating the city's indifferent vastness with grace. Little more than an unusual night's anecdote to embellish upon request, she folded the moment away among her stories of tireless nights and diners' clatter, unknowing of the ripples it had set in motion. Liam, meanwhile, lingered, watching her figure blend into the life-breath of the street. Intrigued, he found himself pondering the strange irony of his night. A realization that in Emily's world of small means, there resided a wealth far beyond the tangible assets he held. As he wandered back into his night's path with this newfound perspective, something within him stirred, a quiet resolve tempered by the sincerity of her generosity, eager to see where their paths might cross again. 2 days hence, nestled comfortably within the simple rhythms of her daily life, Emily found herself momentarily plucked from routine by an unexpected call. The early afternoon sun slanted through her apartment window as she balanced a phone precariously against her shoulder, listening to a voice on the other end extending an invitation to a charity gala being held at the Grand Aspen Hotel. The notion seemed utterly foreign to her, belonging to a world far removed from her own, a world of crystalline chandeliers, polished marble floors, and exquisitely tailored evening regalia. Dismissing it initially as a clerical error or perhaps an elaborate prank, she brushed the thought aside, until Liam's voice echoed through her phone the following day. There was a genuine warmth to his call, an appreciative inflection that made it unmistakably personal. "Emily," he began, his tone carrying both familiarity and formality. "I'm sincerely grateful for what you did the other night. It's more than just covering a fare. It was a moment of human kindness that many people wouldn't have extended." He paused, allowing his gratitude to take root in the silence that followed. "I would be honored if you could join us at the gala. The truth is, we're looking to highlight stories like yours, acts of goodwill that often go unnoticed." A mixture of disbelief and a flicker of anxiety flared within her. Emily had never considered her actions worthy of recognition. She had merely acted as she believed any decent person would. Yet there was something compelling about Liam's invitation. an implicit promise of a different experience, a glimpse into a world she had never considered entering. After a few moments of deliberation, largely swayed by curiosity and perhaps a dash of serendipitous adventure, she accepted. On the night of the gala, Emily approached the Grand Aspen Hotel with a nervous anticipation thrumming beneath her understated dress, one of the few formal garments she owned. The entrance was bustling, alive with a controlled chaos of luxury cars, the guests gliding gracefully into the resplendent venue. As she stepped into the lobby, a panorama of opulence unfurled before her, golden lights cascading from ornate chandeliers, crisp white linens clothed expansive tables adorned with delicate floral arrangements, and the air tinged with a symphony played by hidden musicians. Her eyes scanned the room apprehensively until they settled on Liam, standing amidst a concentric circle of admirers and acquaintances, his presence commanding yet inviting. Upon noticing her, he broke from the group, a genuine smile warming his features as he approached. "Emily, I'm so glad you came," he expressed, enveloping her in a welcoming aura that quelled her nerves. As the evening unfolded, he guided her through the crowd, introducing her not merely as an acquaintance, but as the evening's unassuming muse, a narrative centerpiece in the richly woven tapestry of philanthropy and charity. It was within this grand reveal, amid heartfelt recounts and inspired dialogue, that Emily learned the extent of Liam's influential life. Revered as a philanthropist whose reach extended across continents, his endeavors, though vast and varied, were all rooted in a singular vision: to illuminate the quiet acts of compassion often overshadowed by larger narratives. Liam's testament to her small gesture formed the night's emotional linchpin, a testament to the profound potency of simple human kindness, celebrated now on a grand stage. Emily found herself astounded not only by Liam's influence, but by the gathering's sweeping response, a standing ovation resounding through the hall, encapsulating her in a tender embrace of newfound appreciation and awe. In those moments, Emily's world expanded, filled with recognition and the profound realization that, regardless of one's walk of life, each action carries the potential to inspire, to ripple outward and transform lives, anchored by the unassuming power of kindness. In the grandeur of the ballroom, amidst the gentle hum of clinking glasses and murmured conversations, Emily stood at the crossroads of incredulity and revelation. The evening had transformed into an unexpected journey, a manifestation of the extraordinary within her ordinary life. She was no longer just a face in the crowd, but a focal point of admiration. Her narrative a testament to the profound consequences of compassion. As the evening progressed, the announcement was made, and silence enveloped the room like a gentle wave as Liam approached the podium. His presence commanded attention, yet his demeanor was imbued with a warmth that seemed to draw Emily into a shared secret, a space of acknowledgement and gratitude that transcended their initial encounter. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice resonant with sincerity, "tonight we celebrate not only the generosity that guides our shared mission, but most importantly, the small yet mighty acts that often pass unnoticed. Acts like those of Emily, who, on a seemingly ordinary night, showed us the extraordinary power of kindness." The room followed his gaze to where Emily stood, surprise etched across her features. Applause erupted, a crescendo of appreciation that reverberated through her, echoing in the hollows of her prior uncertainties. It was a moment of unanticipated honor, and as Liam continued, her reality began to shift incrementally. "In her honor," Liam continued, "we have established the Emily Thompson Scholarship Fund. This initiative will provide aid to struggling students, ensuring that financial hardship is not a barrier to achieving their aspirations." The pronouncement was met with a standing ovation. Yet for Emily, the world seemed to still in that ephemeral moment, the gravity of her name entwined with such a noble cause sinking profoundly into her understanding. Her initial disbelief gave way to an overwhelming wave of emotion, gratitude, humility, pride, and a newfound respect for the path she had walked. In that instant, Emily's perspective altered subtly yet significantly. The struggles, sacrifices, and silent battles she had endured carved a legacy of resilience, now recognized for its strength and possibility. The contempt she had harbored toward her situation was redefined, seen now through a lens of appreciation for the tenacity that had seen her through. As the gala continued, the conversations flowed around her like a gentle river coursing past a steadfast rock. Guests engaged with her, not as strangers, but as allies drawn to the quiet dignity her story conveyed. Each interaction unfolded layers of her own understanding, until she found herself standing near the fringes of an opulent world she had once believed inaccessible, yet which now embraced her wholly. As the night drew to a close, Emily ventured outside, seeking solace beneath a canopy of stars that glittered like scattered gemstones across the midnight tapestry. The cool air whispered promises of new beginnings, of a life no longer framed by limitations, but enriched by the endless potential of compassionate connectivity. Emily reflected on her journey, recognizing the profound irony in the paths life led her down. A small, spontaneous act had unfurled into an extraordinary tapestry, woven with strands of hope, humanity, and heart. It was a reminder that every day bore the possibility of profound impact, that in the mundane lived magic, waiting to spark change through the simplicity of kindness. With the night's transformative revelations settling into her bones, Emily departed the gala not just as a recipient of recognition, but as a beacon for the quiet power of giving. Her narrative, once unassuming, had blossomed into a powerful symbol of hope and inspiration, a testament to the enduring impact of empathy in a world often overlooked.